welcome to VGK Today, a daily podcast providing you an inside look at the Vegas Golden Knights 2025 Stanley Cup Playoff run. I'm Justin Russo with the Golden Knights on Saturday, April 26th, as we get ready for afternoon hockey today in Game 4 between the Knights and the Wild, with puck drop set for 1 p.m. Pacific Time. The Knights are looking for answers after back-to-back 5-2 losses in this series, and they're looking to avoid a 3-1 deficit to regain home ice advantage with a win in today's Game 4. Now, I know tensions may be a little high among the fans right now ahead of a very important game for Vegas, but hopefully today's episode can work to lighten the mood just a bit ahead of Game 4. After the break, Gary Lawless catches up with NHL on TNT analyst Eddie Olczyk for a fun chat as the two catch up in St. Paul. Well, Golden Knights fans, if you're listening to this on Saturday morning ahead of Game 4 and you're looking for some plans for the game, you can head on down to Lee's Family Forum, where the official watch party is going to take place for Game 4 between the Knights and the Wild. Doors will open at noon, with the party starting with an exclusive viewing of the VGK Way at 12:15. Game time is at 1 p.m. on Vegas 34. Now, parking and admission are free, and Anheuser-Busch will offer specials on Bud Light drafts with $5 for a 12-ounce or $9.99 for a 20-ounce. The Salmon Ash Tilt Yard will feature activations, including a shooting cage, the world's fastest ice resurfacer, and the Los VGK branded lowrider. We're also going to have a DJ, visits from the VGK cast, and raffle prizes, including autographed items and tickets to future Golden Knights games. Giveaways for all fans include VGK sunglasses, rally towels, and more. Seating will be available throughout the lower bowl of the arena. No floor access for the day, as the Vegas Thrill Court will be down at the time, but you can sit anywhere in the lower bowl and catch Game 4 with your fellow medieval maniacs over at Lee's Family Forum.
We are here with TNT color analyst, one of my favorite hockey players to watch when I was a younger fellow. Easy, the one and only Eddie Olczyk. How you doing, Eddie?
Well, first off, Lawless in order. It's nice to see you. And let's clarify here, okay? You're about 25 years older than I am, okay? So enough with you watched me as a young boy, okay? I did realize I learned something today, and it's always good to see you, by the way. You wore number 16 as a kid, huh? That was my number, for the most part in my NHL career was number 16. So I knew I liked you, but I had to realize I liked you for that specific reason.
Well, it's a family number. My brother, Peter, who's my older brother and still younger than you, he wore 16. I wore 16, and now my daughter, Lauren, wears 16. So it's pretty cool. Why did you pick 16?
I was born on the 16th of August. Bobby Clark was my favorite player. Not that I played anything like Mr. Clark, but he was awesome in the face-off dot, and I tried to emulate him as a player, and so that's pretty much why I wore number 16.
Playoffs are here, and you hear everyone say it's their favorite time of year. Why is it your favorite time of year?
Because it's the only time of year. You set yourself up to get in to win the greatest trophy in all of professional sports. You don't realize how hard it is to win until you actually attain it. And I was lucky enough to be a very small part of the team in 1994. Yes, I know it was a long time ago, with the New York Rangers. I had played 10 years in the National Hockey League. My first year in Chicago. Yeah, there's the sheriff. I got to the conference finals my rookie year in the NHL in 1985. So, it took me 10 years to finally attain it. You think you know how hard it is to win, but until you actually do it, you have no idea the sacrifice and the commitment and the luck and the talent that you need in order to win. And you need a roster, you need an organization, you need a bounce to go your way. But look at, the level goes up in the playoffs. The rink gets a little bit smaller in the playoffs, and guys step up, and it's why it's the hardest trophy to win in all professional sports, is because you got to go 4 rounds, and you're going to have ups, you're going to have downs, and but it's just the excitement level is through the roof, not only as a fan but as a broadcaster, because you just never know when the turning point is going to happen. And I think that's just what separates it from everything else.
I should set the scene. We are watching the Golden Knights practice, and Eddie and I are up in the stands in the corner, and
we're in the suite. We're in the suite area. Yeah.
And our colleague Shane Knighty, who works on the Golden Knights broadcast and also works quite often with Eddie on the TNT broadcast, just arrived, and he was teasing us.
Yeah, so busting chops. Yeah,
yes,
that's what we like to say.
Yeah. That Stanley Cup in '94. I am from Peterborough, Ontario, and that cup was huge in my hometown. The head coach, Mike Keenan, coached the Peterborough Petes. Assistant coach, Colin Campbell, played for the Petes. Dick Todd, another assistant coach, played for the Petes. And, of course, Steve Larmer is from Peterborough.
Yes.
So
my teammate twice. Once in Chicago and then once with the Rangers, the legendary Steve Larmer. And I should say, you mentioned Peterborough. Condolences to the family of Greg Millen. I was there last week for the service, and saw a lot of familiar faces. Sadly, we lost not only a great guy and somebody that I played against a long time. I never played with Millsy, Greg Millen, but got to know him much better as a broadcaster, and just a sad loss for the game of hockey. But you mentioned Mike Keenan, you mentioned Dick Todd, you mentioned Coley Campbell. That was our staff back in '94, helping us win the first Stanley Cup with the New York Rangers in 54 years.
You mentioned Greg Millen, so I was a little boy when he played junior for the Peterborough Petes, and I had never met him. And fast forward 25, 30 years, and I walk into an NHL press box to cover an NHL game, and he's broadcasting at that time. He walks right up to me. I guess he'd seen my picture on the paper, or maybe seen me on television, whatever.
Or the milk carton.
Yeah. Walked right up to me. Hi, Gary. How are you? And treated me like a colleague and a peer.
Class.
Big time.
Millsy was a class guy. He was very respectful. He loved the game. He loved his family, obviously, but he was somebody you can trust and somebody that you can lean on at any given time. So we're gonna miss him for sure.
The Golden Knights obviously have been. You've been around them, really, right from the very start. You've got to do their games. What do you like about the organization?
Well, a lot of the people. I mean, I'll put you in there too, Lawless, in order there. I'll include you in what I'm saying. I mean, I've known George McPhee for a long time. Kind of gotten to know Kelly a little bit more over the years, but I obviously knew of him of his days in Brandon in the Western Hockey League. One of my trainers with the Winnipeg Jets, Craig Heisinger, spent some time up in Brandon, and then now he's assistant general manager with the Winnipeg Jets. But I am about the leadership and about the people that are there, and I think under Mr. Foley and what they've been able to accomplish in obviously a short period of time. I know Butchie, your head coach, Bruce Cassidy, came into the National Hockey League relatively the same time. So just so many ties to the organization. It's hard not to have a so-called vested interest of wanting your friends and people that you respect. But look at it, they've done everything that you've wanted in a franchise. I'm a sports fan. I grew up in Chicago. I've been a sports fan my whole life, and you just want your team to exhaust all avenues in order to win. And I think that the Vegas Golden Knights have done that, and it's been pretty darn impressive to see the consistency, most importantly, Lawless in order, but it's the success that they've had. And I want to say they've only won one cup, but they seem like every year is that they're on the verge of having success. So I think it starts at the top, and the people that at least I have relationships with, I have the utmost respect for, and always want to see them do well.
People are going to start to call me Lawless in order. It's not my name.
Well, I mean, that's how I knew you, because when I was a little boy and I watched you on TV back in your days in Winnipeg, I used to see you and know all that. I got to say this. I do a lot of driving at home, and I'm on the road a lot, and I listen to you and Danny Dufsky a lot. Okay, so I got to say, every once in a while, I wonder if Danny's actually allowed to call the game, because let him get in every once in a while.
This is awful. I'm taking the microphone away from you. This is his favorite joke. He pulls this on Dan and I. Anyone who listens to Dan and I knows that Dan runs the show, and I'm there for comic relief once in a while.
The only time I don't hear you is when you're with my buddy Mallard there doing the intermissions on Scripps Sports for the Vegas Golden Knights on television. That's the only time I don't hear you. Like, that's all I'm saying is I did radio. Like, sometimes you just got to get in and get out. Like, you got to let Danny get in a little bit more. And that's a constructive observation, and I know you'll take it to heart, and I know it'll improve the radio broadcast.
Well, you've been saying it to me for 7 years, and nothing's changed. So,
okay. So,
but you still listen.
You have selective hearing. Well, because I gotta stay up I gotta stay up on what's going on too. You know. So, and by the way, I want to take a little credit here. I've been staying at the beautiful Red Rock Resort Hotel in Las Vegas for 19 years. I was there before the practice rink even got there. I was there even before the Vegas Golden Knights game. So I kind of feel like, maybe there was a draw to that specific area, out there in Vegas. So, just a little shout out there.
Well, actually, brings us to my next question to you because, you're from Chicago. That's forever your hometown.
Yeah.
It's where you live. It's where, you work. You do some work in Seattle, so you're there quite a bit. But I would have to say it must be a close tie between Seattle and Las Vegas as to your second hometown.
No, there is no time.
It's Vegas.
Oh, it's Vegas.
So I go.
It always will be.
My neighbor guy, really nice guy.
Yes.
He plays the ponies,
yes.
And he said to me recently, "Hey, come on over on a Saturday. I get there like 9 a.m, and I start to do my work, and we're in this little VIP area. So I go over a couple Saturdays ago, and he's with 2 guys as I walk in, Barry and Bob, and right away they're like start pumping me. Hey, do you know Edzo? Do you know Eddie Olczyk? And I'm like, yeah, of course I know Eddie. He's been making fun of me for about 15 years. And they're like, he's a prince of a man. Well, the gentleman of gentlemen. It got nauseating after a while. It was killing me. So you like the ponies at Red Rock?
Oh, yeah. My buddy Jason McCormick and takes care of me, a Chicago guy. He always has been. I love it there. The people are great. And, to know Bob and Barry and see Guy every once in a while. I've been a horse guy my whole life. I do the Kentucky Derby. I'll be going to the Kentucky Derby for NBC in a couple of, in a short period of time, in about 10 days to get ready for the Derby. I've been doing the Derby for NBC for the last 11 years. So, it's always been a part of my fabric and kind of my release. Like, I've never drank in my life. I've never partaken in drugs, but I've been a gambler my whole life. And that's kind of how I've gotten away from whatever real world that I have. And but when you meet people at the race book at the Red Rock, or you go to the racetrack, there's just kind of a natural bond and a competitiveness of trying to pick those winners. So I just enjoy people. I mean, for as much as I love to bust on you there, Lawless and Order, I have great respect for you and what you've done and what you've accomplished. And there are certain people you enjoy seeing over our travels, whether your team is winning or my team's winning or whatever it might be. Is like there's relationships, and I think that's what makes our game great, is that these relationships will be here regardless of hockey is or it isn't. And it's just always great to meet people and continue that that relationship through the greatest game in the world.
Well, I said I was going to keep you for 5 minutes, and we're at 12:25.
Well, you do get paid by the word, I understand. So,
I like every time you answer a question, I've got 7 follow-ups, but I'm going to end it now. We'll do this again because.
Well, why don't we get a sponsorship here? We'll get the Red Rock involved. I'll give
Lawless and Olczyk. It writes itself.
Well, I mean, come on. I mean, would that not be an unbelievable? Would not be a heck of a shtick?
Would you let me have top billing?
Yeah, I think I would, because I've always kind of been that, I've kind of always been the cymbals player in the orchestra type of thing. You don't ever hear him, and all of a sudden you don't realize it, and all of a sudden, bam, he's right in there. Wow, they got the cymbal player, right? So, you ever play an instrument in school?
Hey, I was dynamite on the ukulele and the recorder.
Really?
And then they threw me out.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming.
No.
I don't see a musical. I don't see any musical skill sitting to my right now.
Thanks so much. That is the one and the only Eddie Olczyk. Thanks, Eddie.
All right, see you, Lawless in order.
Gary Lawless, the VGK insider, Lawless in order. Gary is a man of many names, but Edzo really hammering home that final one, trying to get Lawless in order to stick once and for all, and we'll see if he is successful. Fun chat between those two, their disputed ages notwithstanding, but always a fun wrinkle in the postseason when the national broadcasters get to join in and hop on the moving train of the season that our local VGK broadcasters have been on since Game 1. And they get to hang out together and enjoy some Stanley Cup playoff hockey and, well, hopefully for our sake, see a Golden Knights win. We'll step aside, and when we come back, we'll recap the action from Friday's 3-game slate in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Golden Knights fans, I want to remind you that the Vegas Nighthawks are back at Lee's Family Forum on May 3rd and May 10th. Catch the fast-paced, family-friendly action of indoor football with tickets available at nighthawksfootball.com. Also want to remind you that the official VGK mobile app is the easiest way to keep up with the team. Plus, fans with the app will have the chance to win tickets to select playoff games. Download it today for Apple or Android. 3 more games in the Stanley Cup playoffs on Friday night, and no surprise, there was more drama and lots more fun. So let's just jump right into it, starting with Game 3 between the Capitals and the Canadiens from Montreal. This one was a tight back-and-forth affair as every goal had an answer from the other side until early in the third period. Then finally, the Canadiens, up 4-3 after already answering an Alex Ovechkin goal earlier in the frame, were able to build the first 2-goal lead of the game on a shot by Juraj Slafkovsky. That cushion would prove to be enough to take them until the end as the Habs got on the board in the series with a 6-3 win. Now, the biggest story from this game, though, is the goaltending situation for both sides. Sam Montembeault from Montreal left with a lower body injury in the middle of the second period and was replaced by 23-year-old rookie Jakub Dobeš, who finished off the win. Then, in the third period, Washington's Logan Thompson left the ice after that goal by Slafkovsky as he was run into by teammate Dylan Strome. Strome made heavy contact with Thompson's head, but Caps head coach Spencer Carberry didn't provide any specifics on the injury after the game, as Charlie Lindgren played the rest of the game in the defeat for Washington. Now, Game 4 is set for Sunday, and we'll see if either starting goalie is ready to go by that time, as that is developing into a massive storyline in this first-round series. Now, there was also some post-whistle brawls in this one. The physicality ramped up to a new level, as Tom Wilson and Josh Anderson were at the center of the biggest one at the end of the second period. While many players grabbed a dance partner in the scuffle, Wilson and Anderson's tilt spilled into the Capitals' bench as the two dragged each other along the bench and essentially tackled each other at the end of the bench after the frame, and each player was assessed a 10-minute misconduct leading into the third period. And again, this was all after the buzzer had sounded in the second. So certainly something to keep an eye on as well heading into Game 4, what kind of physicality we get in that series, as again, Game 4 is set for Sunday. Our second game came from New Jersey, as the Devils looked to avoid a 3-0 series deficit to the Hurricanes. New Jersey started off well in this one with an early 1-0 lead, and after going up 2-0 early in the final frame, that lead evaporated, as Carolina got goals from Seth Jarvis and Sebastian Aho to force overtime. Now, in overtime, the Devils heavily pressured the Canes, and they even had 2 power plays, but they could not beat Freddie Anderson, which sent us to double overtime. But in double overtime, New Jersey finally broke through as youngster Simon Nemec danced around Shane Gostisbehere and slipped one under the right arm of Anderson to win it for New Jersey and get them back in the series. Now, last but certainly not least, from Edmonton, the Oilers were also looking to avoid a 3-0 series hole in Game 3 against the Kings. Now, Edmonton fed off the home crowd to jump out to a 2-0 lead in this one on goals from Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Evan Bouchard, both coming in the first 10 minutes. But Adrian Kempe grabbed his 4th goal of the series at 4-on-4 late in the period to make things 2-1 after 1. In the middle frame, Kevin Fiala tied the game before we had an insane sequence later in the period. To set it up, Drew Doughty had a power play blast that put the Kings ahead at 15:07 of the frame. Edmonton, looking for a response, got it at 17-19, just 2 minutes and 12 seconds later on a goal from Connor Brown. But just as the fans were sitting back down in their seats after the equalizer, the Kings were up on the rush in the ensuing draw, and just 9 seconds after Brown scored, Trevor Moore yanked the lead right back for LA. And if you think, well, it couldn't possibly get crazier than that in the third period, right? Well, I think you underestimate the power of this insane series to this point. So fast forward to the third. Evander Kane, in just his second game of the year, second game of the series, scored with just under 7 minutes left in the game to get the Oilers even again. But there was a lengthy review for a kicking motion that propelled the puck in. Now, while Kane did indeed kick the puck, he got his stick on it right before it crossed the line, meaning he legally scored with his stick, not through the kick, and the goal stood after that review. But inexplicably, Kings coach Jim Hiller challenged the play for goalie interference. There really didn't seem to be any on the play, and he was willing to risk an Oilers power play if he was wrong. Well, Hiller gambled and lost as the goal stood and the electric Oilers power play took the ice, quickly making a bad situation even worse for LA. And it was quickly into the back of the net for Edmonton, as just 10 seconds into that power play, Evan Bouchard picked up his second goal of the game and gave the Oilers a 5-4 lead, as the stunned Kings now had to find a way to get back in this game and see if they could tie things up. But it just wasn't meant to be. Edmonton would get 2 empty netters to extend the lead to 7-4, and they would win by that same score to get back in the series, as the Kings miss an opportunity to take a 3-0 stranglehold and really give away a game in Edmonton. And this Oilers-Kings series just constantly delivers, and you really can never turn off your TV until the very end between these two teams. I mean, you think back to Game 1 and that comeback for Edmonton, Connor McDavid tying it late, all for it to fall by the wayside on that late goal in a heartbreaking loss. I expect more antics and more drama in this series, and I certainly expect it to go at least 6 or 7 games at this rate. We'll see what more kind of fun we get between the Oilers and the Kings. Very fun night of hockey on Friday, and the Golden Knights looking to have some fun of their own this afternoon in St. Paul, aiming to even up the series at 2 before the teams head back to Vegas on Tuesday for Game 5. That'll just about wrap things up for today's show. Thank you, as always, for tuning in to VGK Today, and be sure to rate, review, and subscribe on your preferred podcast platform, as we'll be back every day throughout the Knights' 2025 Stanley Cup Playoff run with new episodes. Tune in tomorrow as Dave Gosher is back to recap Game 4 between the Knights and the Wild. Justin Russo signing off for VGK Today.